fun, challenging,
exciting,
experiencias nuevas,
commitment,
it's been a fun challenge,
motivating,
rewarding,
groundbreaking,
esfuerzo,
unforgettable,
liberating,
new,
stressful,
responsabilidad,
dedication,
surreal,
emotional, resilient.
Forget everything and just run.
That's how I would describe the season.
Barry University Athletics welcomes 7 new sports for the 2023-2024 academic year, 2 of which are the men's and women's cross-country teams. With student athletes from across the country and the county of Miami-Dade, the cross-country teams returned to Barry after 30 years. I spoke with athletic director Dr. Scott Smith on the decision to offer this competitive sport in the Shores.
At the university, we've known for years that the athletic department is a point of pride, and a big part of that is our student athletes. They're some of our best in the classroom. They're some of the best clearly on the court, the national championships that we've won, and they're active in the community. So we want to provide more opportunities like that for students. And so we did an analysis of what sports might allow us to do that, and cross country seemed to be one that we could support. It's sponsored by the Sunshine State Conference, so that made sense in terms of competition, and we think that in this market in South Florida that it would be a very attractive sport for us to offer. And so that was a lot of the thinking, and we're excited about the future.
Head coach Kevin Padin and assistant coach Daniela Espino are at the helm and have high hopes for the program's projected path.
Conversations starting the cross-country program really started with a lot of student interest. Actually, Kiora Wright, one of the student athletes on the team now, was actually petitioning for the program 2 years ago as a freshman. So just her persistence in bringing the sport to Barry University is really what opened up the door for us to kind of come in and pitch our vision of the program. When we came in, it was really just selling the idea of having our community involved and being able to give back in this way, because I think there's a lot to learn from this sport.
Dr. Smith also spoke about the steps taken to kickstart the cross-country program and the importance of a strong coaching staff.
Well, the first thing's a coach. So to really be successful with the recruitment process, you got to hire well. So they've got to understand the institutional mission, they've got to understand the departmental strategic vision, they got to understand what we're trying to achieve and support those wonderful things that I talked about in terms of academic and athletic excellence. And so when we have leaders, coaches that can be stewards of the mission, that can be stewards of the strategic vision for the university, that helps facilitate the recruitment process. Once we get that process nailed down and you get the leader in place, then they go out like any coach does and make the relationships, make the connections, and talk about what's the value of coming to Barry, what are the academic programs that we have, how that they can be successful professionally, how their athletic experience can contribute to that and make it a more holistic experience for them, and grow and go on and be great alumni of Barry University.
Each runner's recruitment story is different, with some being recommended by teammates, being found on recruiting sites like Next College Student Athlete Recruiting or NCSA, emails, finding out about Barry's new program, students who were already attending Barry, or being tied to Coach Padin from a former school. However, everyone felt instantly at home when they first stepped on campus and are happy they have been brought together as Buccaneers.
I picked Barry for the atmosphere. We came to the school, it was beautiful. Everyone was super friendly, super nice, but also just because I wanted to be a part of a new program. I thought it'd be cool to be a part of something new or something that hasn't been around the school for 30 plus years, so I just wanted to be a part of something new.
Cross country is a distinct sport from track and field. The runners describe the various differences between the two sports as one takes more endurance while the other requires more speed. The venues and terrain also differ, as well as, of course, the training ahead of their meets.
Cross country is hard. I think the biggest thing was that I wasn't expecting to run such long distances, because we run long distances for cross country, whereas I never run cross country before. This is my first year ever running cross country. And so with track, it was more like short distance, more like fast pace. It's more like you sprint, you take a break, you sprint again, you take a break. Whereas with cross country, it's like you run miles and miles and miles with no break until the end. And so like when we were in like when I went to first practice, I think we were like 3 miles, and it took like 45 minutes. I was like, wow, like that's crazy. So I think like the distances was like the biggest like difference between the two.
If you get there the day before, you can do a course preview and, you know, just seeing what the course looks like before you hop on it, because you don't want to hop on a course blind. It sucks. So course previews and just watching like previous races on the course on YouTube or whatever, like you'll definitely find a video of something. So that helps a lot.
For the mental preparedness and coming into new competition with a lot higher level teams, bigger teams, faster times, the first race it was a little overwhelming, but once you get that first race out of the way and see what your competition is, see what races are like, you kind of get used to it and you're like, okay, now I know what to expect for the next one. But you're also having to think about that this is an adjustment year. You're getting used to the college running, you're getting used to college training, college performing, like all of that.
It's a lot more competitive. During practices, we always try to push each other, and as they say, like, iron sharpens iron, so if we push each other, we'll get even more better.
The first season has served as one to set goals, not just for this fall, but for the remainder of their student-athlete career. Coach Kevin and Coach Danny spoke about how they want to help their runners not just improve in their athletic abilities, but also their personal lives.
Competitive philosophy within the team, something I preach to a lot of them, is basically being able to ignore like the external goals that people focus on, right? You want to focus on running a PR, you want to focus on beating a team, right? That's great, but that doesn't tell you the journey that you're going through. There's so many different factors that play into how those things happen. So what I try to have them focus on are the systems that we're putting in place to get better. Are we making sure we have good sleep habits? Are we putting in the right amount of effort at practice every single day? Are we being supportive of one another? If we focus on those things on a daily basis, by the time you get to a competition, the progress is going to speak for itself, right? So if you focus on yourself and your teammates, winning follows.
Yeah, everybody says, really just care for the overall athlete, the wellness, but we kind of tell them, like, whatever you do within practice is not just to set you up for competing-wise, running-wise. It's like, how is that going to carry over into the, the mom, the dad, whatever, the family member that you become in the future. So always, like, trying to tell them that they can, become and do whatever they want as long as they do all those little things.
I think that cross country is probably one of the most grueling sports because it's one of those things that people don't like to do. No one likes to run miles every day. No one likes to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go practice at 5. No one likes the feeling of after practices, that sore feeling. So I believe that it's a big difference from every other sport.
What motivates me? I don't know, just like, because running, a lot of people don't like it. And what motivates me about it is how it's something not a lot of people are good at. So that motivates me. But the main factor is how it just makes me feel alive, and like, because I've been pretty smart my whole life, and this adds a really good challenge. Obviously, school's still challenging, but I find myself getting like a lot higher grades and stuff. But running just adds that challenge to my life that I really do need, because I can't imagine how boring it would be without doing running, because it just makes life more interesting.
Aside from the sport, these student athletes make their classes a priority and have managed to create some kind of balance. Adapting to a new country, language, and culture has also been a new feat for the international student athletes.
Balancing all of that is honestly pretty hard. How do I balance it? I try to stay as organized as possible. I set a lot of alarms. I keep my calendar updated. I always take notes. I just try to be as organized as possible. Obviously, some things slip through the cracks, but I think just writing things down really helps me in setting those alarms, just as reminders.
Definitivamente una experiencia, creo que para todos los estudiantes internacionales es una experiencia muy difícil al principio porque es algo nuevo en tu vida, diferentes personas, diferentes culturas, diferente idioma, que es creo que una de las partes más difíciles de un estudiante internacional. Por ejemplo, en mi caso, el inglés fue horrible porque cuando llegué acá yo no sabía nada de inglés. Yo dije, ¿cómo yo voy a hacer acá? Entonces empecé a aprender el inglés por mi cuenta, viendo tutoriales en YouTube, Duolingo, muy conocido, Netflix, todo por mi cuenta. Y además las clases en la universidad eran todas en inglés, entonces tenía que llegar a casa y sentía que tenía que estudiar el doble. Pero ya con el tiempo lo vas tomando todo fácil, si mantienes una buena disciplina.
My experience as an international student at the beginning, when I moved here to Miami, it was difficult because I have before here I lived with my parents like all my life, so I'm very close to my family. And moving here, it was difficult because I felt lonely sometimes. But then I made some friends, and it was getting better, and I feel much better now. I understand everything from my classes, and I think I have learned how to balance school with a social life or hobbies or sport.
Almost all of the runners first met this August, so rapport building was important for the team to get started on from day one. They now see each other as brothers and sisters.
Felt kind of nervous, kind of a little awkward at first, but after I realized they knew my name, and so I was like, okay, so they do know who I am. And so I was after that, I'm just hey, what's up? Every time I see them at practices, we chop it up, and it's cool. We started hanging out outside of practices, and so at first it was awkward, but now it's this is my team. It's one big family, my team, yeah.
Barry recently announced they will be sponsoring a men's and women's track and field team this spring. Preparation for track and field season has been underway for several months, and there are plans to expand the program over the next few years.
One of the benefits, and I should have mentioned this with bringing on cross country, is we found that our student athletes actually are very interested in track as well. Cross country is a fall sport, and so like any student athlete, they're always looking for, well, how am I going to train and what's the next thing throughout the course of the year? And track is a spring sport. And so we had many of our long distance runners from cross country ask the coach, could we do track in the spring? So the track coach brought forward a real good proposal about what that would look like. And financially, it seems to make sense for us. But from an engagement standpoint and a student retention standpoint, keeping our student athletes happy, satisfied, healthy, and training, it seemed like really just a no-brainer to add track with that.
Well, preparations for track and field coming up now in 2024. So we have a interest meeting. We'll explore kind of the student body at Barry. So they'll have an opportunity to try out for the team in January and join us, and they'll be the first group really. And so we're going through our first actual recruiting cycle for next school year for track and field. So it's kind of, stage by stage right now. But I think we've had tremendous interest from the student body population, and then just relying a little bit on the cross-country team that's already kind of laid that original foundation to kind of show the next few coming in what they'll be expected to do.
I'm looking forward to track season mostly because I'm a sprinter. I did basketball majority of my life, so sprints is what I do. That's what I like. Just that intensity, it's my comfort zone. So I guess I'm just looking forward to being back into my comfort zone.
The 2023-2024 year marks the 40th anniversary of Barry University Athletics. In his first year as athletic director, Dr. Smith is part of the legacy Buck student athletes have made and has championship aspirations for the cross-country team as well.
It's 40 years of academic and athletic excellence at Barry University. We've had a number of great events that we've done. We had the opportunity to have a member of the original cross-country team do a Zoom. He zoomed in and spoke to the cross-country team, welcomed them and celebrated them. That was very nice. This is a fun time to be a part of Barry U Athletics as we celebrate our 40th anniversary and just continue to do good things.
Restarting the program and kind of, picking up where it was. I mean, obviously Brooks Petty and those runners in the past did a fantastic job of setting a super high bar. I still have some coaches in the community that were Barry alumni on the teams that they were super excited and they reached out to us. So, we know we have to live up to what they've done. The exciting thing is you're starting the program from scratch, right? So while there is a previous legacy, we have an opportunity to make our own story. And so that's something we sell to the kids. That's something that interested the both of us. So it's exciting, it's nerve-wracking, it's a lot of things.
I think with each class that we recruit, it's going to be, kind of adding a little bit layer, brick by brick, to what that legacy is going to look like. But I mean, we definitely want to
win some championships for sure. So
That's on the vision board.
That's on the vision board.
This group of runners are excited to build their own legacy at Barry and are thrilled at the idea of completing their dreams.
I'm just proud to have this opportunity. You know, being the first child in my family, or out of all my cousins ever, you know, to do college sports, it's a blessing. And I do this for like back at home, you know, everybody's tapped in. Like they text me all the time, like, how's it going? You know, like even just friends, like I do this for them. You know, I want them to know what it's like. You know, and especially like where I'm from, like once people graduate, you know, they just stay and nobody leaves my city. They'll graduate and then they'll just come right back. So, you know, just I want to make a difference, and I want to put on for my city. You know, make everybody proud and just do things God's way.
I feel happy and grateful too because, well, they gave me the opportunity to run at this level. And also I'm happy because, yeah, like in Mexico, I never had like the opportunity to be like in an athletic team. And well, because I played tennis for many years, but then I stopped playing. And then yeah, so I never had like the opportunity, and now that I have like the opportunity to be in a sport team, I feel happy. I feel very happy.
One thing that goes to my mind is my mom. It's kind of who I do everything for. So that's usually who I'm thinking about and what I'm pushing for.
Estoy agradecida con el deporte porque yo ahora soy, todo lo que soy es gracias al deporte. Estoy acá por el deporte, estoy cumpliendo mis sueños gracias al deporte, estoy estudiando, algo que mi familia nunca, o sea, siento que estoy rompiendo una cadena porque contando la familia que mi papá, hermanos, creo que soy una de las primeras que está ahora en un college y va a terminar una carrera universitaria. De verdad estoy contenta, espero seguir con este deporte porque te ayuda mentalmente y físicamente. Yo ahorita estoy acá cumpliendo un sueño que nunca pensé que iba a lograr en mi país porque ahora es difícil allá. Y ahora estoy acá, a veces yo despierto y digo, wow, estoy acá, estoy estudiando, yo no me imaginé esto, yo lo pensaba imposible y ahora estoy acá. Yo estoy orgullosa, me gusta, estoy feliz.
I'm Laura Blanco, reporting.